Yellow 5. Why can people walk many miles without discomfort, but when they stand for more than 15 minutes or so, they get uncomfortable? Your leg veins have one-way valves in them. They work when the skeletal muscles around them contract and release. When you are walking around, the flexion/relaxation of the walking muscles are literally pumping the blood back to your torso. When you are standing still, you aren't getting that pumping action naturally. You could flex/release your legs intentionally while standing, but it's not nearly as effective as walking is. Hope that makes sense. I work at a vein surgeon's office. I actually asked him this. Basically, when you are standing, blood flow slows and pools in your legs due to gravity. But when you walk, your muscles contract and push the blood in your veins and vessels back up into your upper body. On the side note, seasoned military personnel are able to stand at ease for long periods of time because they are actually swaying back and forth very slowly in micro-movements to contract their muscles and relieve the tingling and numb sensation you get when you keep standing for long periods of time. Edit, as others have suggested, not locking your knees is also key. Edit 2, as others have mentioned, micro-movements could be flexing your calves, distributing weight back and forth between your heels and toes, wiggling your toes, etc. Edit 3, if you have persistent leg problems even without prolonged standing and even after conservative measures, compression stockings, exercise, etc., I would recommend getting a referral to a vein specialist from your PCP in the US to get it properly treated. You may just have bad veins. Well, my very first gold. Thank you, stranger squinting face with dumb. When you stand, the same muscles in your feet fire repeatedly as the pressure on them remains constant. However, when you walk about, the pressure shifts to and from different areas of your foot as the same muscles aren't working all the time. If you have a sore area on your foot, walking will be less painful than standing as the pressure is on the area for less time. A lot of the answers on here are focused on blood flow, which is great, but it misses a big part of it. Your joints are lubricated by their joint fluid, synovial fluid. The way they get new fluid and nutrients is through movement. When you stand still, the fluid is not refreshed and it tends to dry out in a sense. This makes joints painful and causes that stiff feeling when you try to start moving again. Shortly after moving, the fluid and nutrients are replenished and things move again. Circulation is a big part, but joint movement is what provides the fluid flow. If you kept your joints still and contracted the muscles to get blood flowing, you would still feel the majority of stiffness and aches. Walking increases blood flow. Standing causes it to pool in your legs. More blood flow means more oxygen to the muscles and more efficient removal of lactic acid buildup. Standing also means keeping your muscles rigid, which is much more stressful on them than simply moving, where periods of contraction and release have points where less energy is being used. If you want an example, try doing slow curls versus fast curls. Your muscles will fatigue faster from slow tension than quick tension. Edit, this really applies to any muscle groups used in moving around. Surgeon here. It all has to do with physiologic load. We are not anatomically designed to accommodate static, standing in one position, loads for an extended period of time. None of our load-bearing tissues, primarily bone, have rigid viscoelastic properties sufficient to withstand static stress. Bone is actually a relatively soft material compared to metal, etc. Walking or even shifting weight while standing will redistribute our body's load on the weight-bearing tissues in our legs and allows those tissues to recover during the phase when the body position changes. Also, your mind is more active as you walk, so it's focused less on discomfort. Different hormones are released too, and this also affects the way your brain is working in response to discomfort. Some boxers continue fighting with a broken hand. Some runners with sprains and maybe fractures. Sometimes people who just work hard forget to eat. Blood in your body is pumped by the heart. This moves it out, away from your heart. The blood vessels that lead away from your heart have valves that keep the blood from flowing backwards. As blood reaches the farthest part of your body, it is separated into many tiny tubes that supply all the parts of your body. This causes the blood to slow down a lot. When blood goes to return to the heart, there are valves in those blood vessels which help to prevent blood from flowing backwards. Also, because it has now slowed down, it does not move back to the heart very easily. The forward pressure is much lower than in your arteries. This allows gravity to overcome them and allow blood to flow backwards. This is less common in a healthy person. The tubes in your legs that send blood back to the heart are surrounded by your leg muscles. When you walk, they are squeezed, and this pushes the blood back to your heart. Without the extra pressure from your leg muscles pumping, it can be difficult to overcome the force of gravity pulling downwards on the blood. When you stand, those muscles aren't pushing the blood, so it becomes harder to move it. This means that the old, used-up blood is stuck in the lowest point of your body. This is your feet. Because the blood is used up, it has no oxygen to keep the muscles in your feet healthy. When your body senses there is not enough oxygen, it sends signals to your brain that trick it into thinking there is pain. This causes you to try and move the part of the body that is in pain, which ideally allows fresh blood to flow in with new oxygen. This is also why it feels like your chest burns when you hold your breath. As someone with POTS, I know the reason for this on a very personal level. I failed 2 tilt table tests because walls of my arteries don't produce enough force to keep an adequate amount of blood pumping up to my brain, resulting in dizziness and blurred vision upon standing upright. When I get up, I immediately have to start walking, so my calf muscles push on the arteries in my legs to produce the force needed. Sometimes I have to flex my calf muscles before standing up to prevent my blood from pooling in my legs. I also wear compression socks to prevent venous pooling. I cannot work jobs that require me to be on my feet in a stationary spot because I get insane amounts of fatigue and lightheadedness. I also have to use a shower chair to wash myself. I have to sit in a chair to cook. Standing is so unbearable that I dread getting up out of bed every morning. I have to get up in increments so my body can adjust to the change in posture.